This happened about 6 years ago when I was 20 and sharing a flat. I had a job at a dive bar, about a 30-minute walk from work. I typically walked or cycled to and from work despite finishing at 1 a.m. or 2 or later. The city I was in was pretty small, and my walk took me through crowded, well-lit areas, so my only issues walking home at night were generally dodging drunk people throwing up outside bars or getting accosted by people I know trying to get me to go for a beer with them. One night, I was on my way home and about 15 minutes away when a group of 6 or 7 guys who were walking down the street in the opposite direction started catcalling me and shouting at me to join them for a drink. Not a totally uncommon experience, so to start with, I just laughed and waved them off. Then, when they kept persisting and started to get ruder and louder in their shouts, I flipped them the bird and told them to fuck off. They shouted at me a bit more, but kept walking in their direction, and I figured they had given up and carried on towards home. A few minutes later, I stopped to fix my shoelace and realized that the same group of guys were now following me, but now they were completely silent. I was apprehensive, but not too nervous at this point. I naively thought that maybe they'd change their minds about where they were going, even though they had done an about turn and were now heading away from the bars and clubs, like me. I picked up some speed and kept going towards my flat and rang my flatmate to see if she was home. She wasn't. When I got to the end of my street, I turned off the main road and started running, hoping to get inside before they reached the road and saw where I lived. I thought I'd made it, but when I reached the door, I looked back and saw them gathered at the end of the street, looking at me. Now, the building was an old Victorian house which had been converted into flats, pretty common for the area. Ours was on the ground floor, and our living room and my flatmate's bedroom looked out onto the street with big bay windows into a little front garden. The building wasn't in the best repair. The main door into the stairwell had warped, so it no longer locked, just shoved closed, and the building manager had refused to fix it. Anyways, I was inside the flat at this point, grabbing a beer and telling my flatmate's cat about the creepy guys that followed me. Don't judge me, I kind of wanted some company. I went through to the living room and just about passed out. They were in our garden and the living room curtains were open. They were pointing and waving at me and laughing. I had no idea what to do, so backed into the hallway out of sight, at which point they started banging on the window and shouting. This went on for 5 minutes while I debated whether to phone the police. Then the banging stopped, and I heard more laughing. I looked out, and one of the guys had dropped his trousers and was jacking off in front of the window. When he saw me, he started pressing himself against the glass and started shouting out all the things he'd do if I went outside to join them. I then realized a few of his friends were missing. It became quickly clear they had shoved open the broken main door and were now slamming against the door to my flat. At this point, the cat is going completely insane. I'm furious and terrified and had no idea what to do. I settled on grabbing a very heavy frying pan and positioning myself in the hallway where I could keep an eye on the door while I called the police. The police, bless them, turned up within 5 minutes, and as soon as they saw the lights, the guys took off. And just as well, because it turned out the door jamb had started to splinter. There were also some nice gifts left on the living room window. As far as I know, they never got caught. I can't really bring myself to think about what might have happened if the police had taken any longer and the guys had gotten through that door. So, guys who tried to break into my home and jacked off on my window, let's not meet again. But thanks for giving me a reminder about personal safety and for giving me great ammo to get the building manager to fix our front door. Didn't enjoy cleaning the window, though, and never had the curtains open past dark again. This happened during my senior year of high school back in 2007. I was living at my parents' house, who weren't extremely well off, so we didn't have central heat and air. This happened not long before my graduation, so April or May, which meant some nights it was really hot outside, so we regularly opened the windows to put a box fan in the window. My room was a corner room, so I had two windows, one facing the front of the house towards the street and one facing the side of the house. My bed ran parallel to the side window with maybe a foot of space between that wall and my bed. Directly under the window was my outlet. It hadn't been a very warm week, so my box fan wasn't in the window that night. One night, I was sitting in my bed working on some report for school. About 30 to 45 minutes into it, I see my laptop battery is low, so I go to plug it in. I grab the charger out of my bag and lean over to the outlet under the window. As I'm plugging it in, I glance up at the window and see a man staring down at me. I had a brief heart attack and scrambled away from the window, never taking my eyes off him. He's just standing there, leaning over and looking straight at me. He looked angry, like I had viciously attacked him on a very personal level. This might be a good time to mention that I didn't even have a screen on my door. I can't speak. I can't move. I can't scream for help. I didn't even know if anyone was home. We stay like that for what feels like forever, but it may have only been a few seconds. Just frozen, staring at each other. I want to get off the bed and head for the door, but I'm afraid to turn my back to him. Finally, he starts shaking his head and says, "Anyone could crawl through." I don't know why, but the way he said crawl through just sent shivers down my spine. Maybe it was the fact that that was what he chose to say. I imagined him crawling through my window every night without me knowing, and it just filled me with even more horror. I threw myself off the bed and ran for my door and screamed for my brother and my dad while running down the hallway. They came out and I frantically told them what happened, and they ran outside to check the house, but didn't find anything. I moved out not long after graduation, but I will never forget the way he said those words. Anyone could crawl through. Hey, Dark Eyes here. Thank you so much for checking the video out. I really appreciate it. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe and share. That's all I'm asking. It'll take you just a couple of seconds there. Hey, thank you so much, by the way, for the constructive criticism last time. I tried to listen to that and improve this video. If you've not checked out the old video already, well, please do that as well. I really enjoy this genre. I like making these videos, and I'm going to keep making them as long as there are a few people who keep watching. And, I don't really know how to get the word out about these videos, honestly, that this isn't my usual realm. So if you would please help me out by sharing, I appreciate that. And as long as, the numbers keep growing a tad, because goodness knows there's nowhere to go but up from here, then I will keep doing them. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time, which will be very soon. Goodbye.